So that in your analysis of power, in your vision for a better world, for the use of your time and your energy in the short time that you are here, you take that love, transform it into a collective effort. Justice is what love looks like in public. Justice is just love with legs that spills over into public life. So it's not just an abstract notion. It has to do with defining what the social arrangements are, the way my grand teacher and mentor John Rawls in his classic of 1971, A Theory of Justice, put forward. Very important role and task, but justice is also fire inside of your heart and soul and bones. And if you don't do something about it, the rocks are going to cry out. That's why I went to Venezuela. Because there's emerging forces down there that were critical of the corporate oligarchs and financial plutocrats who during the age of Reagan enacted greed run amok, profits escalating, increasing, expanding, wages of workers stagnant, and the lives of poor people rendered invisible. I just got back from a prison near Grataford, Pennsylvania. 4,000 prisoners I spoke to, 800 of them lifers. Where's the focus? Where's the concern? Where's the care for those prisoners? Again, as a Christian, 25th chapter of Matthew, what you've done for the prisoners, you've done unto me. That's a sign of you responding to this particular conception of what it means to be human, focusing on the stranger, the other, the subordinated. And that's not just talk. America needs to be looked at in part through the lens of its prison industrial complex. We're going to spend a lot of time in the next few years focusing on that. I even suggested it to Sister Michelle Obama at the gathering. Time magazine, 100 most influential. Brother Tavis Smiley was one of them. They didn't have too many black folk, you know. They had Michelle, Tavis, and Oprah. I said, but I love you so glad that you and the precious black family in the White House. I said, but in addition to your guard, it would be nice for you to make a trip to the prisons. Let the press follow you. Interview some of the brothers and sisters there of all colors, but disproportionately chocolate. Talk about the 62% of those who convicted of soft crimes. We're not talking about the murders and the rapists. They belong there. We're talking about the soft crime criminals. Ways in which that reflects the underside of America. And this is going to be the challenge, I think, in the age of Obama. Obama came into office, and some of us worked very hard. I did over 65 events for that, brother. From Iowa to Ohio. It's not as if the Obama team was always crazy about me speaking on behalf of Obama. Because they know I throw away the PowerPoints. I don't follow party lines. I'm a blues man, committed to trying to tell the truth. But the condition of truth is to allow suffering to speak. So you begin with the suffering and the sufferers and the wounded, trying to get them to be wounded healers rather than wounded hurters. The scarred, trying to convince them to be scarred helpers rather than scarred play haters. And in this age of Obama, unbelievable hope generated precisely because the greed running amok in the age of Reagan, spilling over to our middle classes and poor, the poor often fetishizing the commodities they could not have, to use the language of Marx and Capital, ascribing commodities. And oftentimes if they really wanted it, they pull out a little technology and say, I'd like to have yours. And we laugh, but that's not funny. Especially when it happens to you. But of course, given the wealth inequality escalating, the devastation of the working class, the displacement of the industrial base in other parts around the world, especially China and Mexico. You all know the story. You see? And then the indifference to the poor. This is what is most troubling. Indifference. Not just apathy, not just inertia. Indifference. More and more became a way of life. Turn your back. Mayor Giuliani, what happened to the squeegee men in New York City? They used to be all over the city. They just disappeared. Oh, really? No, they went somewhere. Look in parts of Jersey, you'll find them. Look in Bridgeport, Connecticut, you'll find them. They went somewhere. No, you just wanted to create deodorized spaces for your new tours to keep your economy going in Times Square. Okay, you need to generate some economic revenues. But the blues man likes to keep it funky in the face of the deodorized. We want to keep track of the wounds and the scars and the responses to the wounds and scars, given the indifference. William James, probably the finest public philosopher, certainly wrote the best style of any American philosopher, which is not always a difficult thing to do, given the professionalized jargon of most of my colleagues in the discipline. But William James used to say, indifference is the one trait that makes the very angels weep. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel saying, indifference to evil is more insidious than evil itself, because it becomes contagious. And that's what happened during the age of Reagan. People became well adjusted to injustice, became well adapted to indifference. You could just feel Brother Martin King and Fannie Lou Hamer, and Dorothy Day and Philip Barrigan turning over in their graves. The greed running amok on the one hand, the corporate oligarchs and financial plutocrats more and more obsessed with the 11th commandment, thou shalt not get caught. Just read the business pages of the last 2.5 years, and what do you see? Gangster activity, scandal after scandal. I'm not just talking about Brother Madoff. It's a good place to start, though. Oh, Brother Bernardo, good place to start. But a symptom and a symbol. Greed, indifference toward the poor, indifference to working people. And then the politics of fear. Karl Rove and others become political geniuses because they can manipulate fears, anxieties, and insecurities, divide the populace, polarize, bastardize the body politic in order to win. And they end up with what? And this is precisely what Obama inherited. An empire in decline. A culture in decay. And a politics, especially a Congress, characterized in the words of my dear brother Russell Feingold, one of the few politicians who tilts toward the truth. Gangster's got a lean, but he's got a tilt. Russell says what? This place is a place of legalized bribery and normalized corruption. Big money, big money, big money, permeating every nook and cranny of it. What do ordinary everyday citizens do? And that's in part what we're here to talk about. I'm going to be listening very, very attentively.